Good day, everyone. Today we are talking about section 6.2, multiplying binomials and trinomials. So this is an extension of what we were doing in section 6.1. It's the next step. So our targets, I can multiply a polynomial by a binomial, I can square a binomial, and I can multiply the sum and difference of binomials. So multiplying a binomial and a trinomial. So in section 6.1 we talked about four methods: FOIL, area, split, and stack. Unfortunately, FOIL only works for two binomials. So what you can use is split, stack, or area methods. If you are splitting, you always split the smaller. If you are stacking, the smaller goes underneath. And then the area, like I said before, it doesn't matter. So for this first problem, I'm going to go through the setup of split, stack, and the area methods. And then I'm going to ask you to pause, or just, to copy them down, to pick the method you like to use, and then do that one. So if you're doing the area method, again, this is the one where you draw the boxes. I typically put the longer one on top and the shorter one on the side. So that would be the setup. If you are doing the split method, you are going to put, you're splitting the smaller one. So you're going to go W times W squared plus 8W plus 1. And then you're going to go -3 times W squared plus 8W plus 1. That would be your split. And if you're doing stack, again, you always stack the smaller one on bottom. So you're going to go W squared plus 8W plus 1. Put your multiplication symbol because you're multiplying. W minus 3. So that is the setup. The multiplication is still the same as yesterday. So I would like you to pause the video and try to do multiplying for this. Alright, so again, if you did the area, I did the fill out the table. If you did the split, the stack, all of the work is in red for each of the three methods. Again, it doesn't matter which method you pick. You should get W to the third plus 5W squared minus 23W minus 3. Now, just a couple things. If you're doing the area method, again, like terms are on the diagonal. Again, you start in the top left. That term is always going to be by itself, and then I kind of work diagonally along, knowing that my like terms are always going to be on the diagonal. If you're doing the split method, again, you're going to have to go and find your like terms. If you are doing the stack method, make sure your stacks are lined up. So, with that being said, I'd like you to pause the video and try to do the next problem on your own. So, again, I've got the area method here in blue. I've got the split method in green. And I've got the stack method in black. No matter which way you do it, you should get the final answer of 2s to the third plus 11s squared plus 13s minus 5. Again, we will do more of these in class. Just wanted to give you a taste of this, and we will come back and do more of these. All right, when it comes to squaring a binomial, we talked a little bit about this when we talked about properties of exponents. You cannot distribute an exponent. Again, the quantity squared means that this is a plus b times a plus b. That's what this quantity squared means. And so, like when we have 2x plus y quantity squared, this equals 2x plus y times 2x plus y. Now, you're going to hear me talk about cringe problems. If you were to cringe and say you did this, you said a plus b squared equals a squared plus b squared. First of all, that's not a thing. So you hear me refer to cringe problems. If you cringe, no work points, no credit, just no credit whatsoever for the problem. If everybody in the class does the problem without cringing, again, this will be another cookie earning opportunity for your entire class. But if one person cringes, no cookies for the class. All right, so we're going to do some examples here. So c plus 9 squared. So you're going to go c plus 9 times c plus 9. Now, once you've done this, this is just like we did in section 1, where you can do FOIL, you can do area, you can do split, you can do stack. Choose a method and pause the video and multiply this. So you should have gotten c squared plus 18c plus 81. I chose to do FOIL on this one. I'm going to do a different method on each problem, so I'm kind of reviewing those with you. Again, if you did area, split, or stack, you do your method. You're going to get the same answer. I would like you to try the next one. And on the last one, when you are multiplying multiple variables, like at one point you're going to multiply f and g together, you just write them as fg in alphabetical order. So go ahead and pause the video and try each of the next. All right, so the middle one, you should have gotten 4d squared minus 28d plus 49. Again, I did the area method this one. If you do a different method, you should get the same answer. Your work would be slightly different looking, but you should get the same answer. The last one is what some students find tricky when you have multiple variables. But again, just what we talked about with exponents, when you have multiple variables, you write them in alphabetical order. So when I have 5f times g, it's just 5fg. When I go g times 5f, again, it's 5fg, the number and then the letters in alphabetical order. So 5fg plus 5fg, when I add them, I get 10fg. So my final answer would be 25f squared plus 10fg plus g squared. All right, the sum and difference pattern. If you were to multiply this out, so I'm just going to do FOIL here. First, outer, inner, last. And then when I combine like terms, these two are going to cancel. I'm going to get a squared minus b squared. If you recognize this pattern, like you see this pattern here, you can go, this is going to be a squared minus b squared. And then multiply that out. You could. If in doubt, like you're like, oh, I'm not sure of the pattern, just multiply. You know how to multiply, so multiply. If you're not sure, you're like, oh, is this one had a special pattern or something? Don't worry about it. Just multiply it. If you can multiply these special patterns. So like the first one here, a plus 9, a minus 9. If you recognize the pattern, you can go, okay, this is a squared minus 9 squared, and say it's a squared minus 81. If you don't, let me write this underneath here. If you don't, then you can be like, okay, I'm going to do the area method. So I'm going to go a minus 9, a plus 9. And again, you can use FOIL, split, stack. I just doing area on this one. So you go a squared minus 9a plus 9a minus 81. And I would notice that this and that term cancel each other out. And so again, I would get a squared minus 81. So if you recognize the pattern, great. If you don't, if you can multiply, you can multiply. Multiply it out using whatever method you use. Go ahead and try each of these three. So pause the video and check back. All right, so the answers are on the board. So the top right, you should get z squared minus 400. The bottom left, 25y squared minus 1. Again, 5y times 5y would be 25y to the second. And then the bottom one here, we get w squared minus 36. Mr. A, do I need to show this middle step here? Do I need to show this for my work? Yes, you either need to show this or whatever method of multiplying you are using, but you need to show your thought process, your work process. Please note that if it said w plus 6, w plus 6, that this pattern doesn't apply. It has to be one adding, one subtracting. So please look carefully at the problems. Just because it looks simple doesn't mean it's just this pattern and move on. All right, the last thing I would like you to do is to look at this pattern. So the first four are completed. You see if you can see, is there a relationship or a pattern between the numbers? So as you can see in the second row, we're looking for what is the relationship between the numbers on the side and the numbers on the top and bottom. So I'd like you to think about this, and when we come to class, we will go over this and see if we've all got the pattern. If you have questions on anything we covered, make sure you ask them during class. Otherwise, have a great day, everyone.